Okay, guys. So today I have made another drawing board. Now, on this drawing board, we have an example of what the indigo and crystal children do. So here's a little history rundown. In the 80s were the first years of the old souls to come back. So if you're from the 80s, you're an old soul. You were either a king, a writer, an inventor, etc. We have those memories that we can tap into from our previous life. Through meditations, we can achieve this. Now, the children of our families at the moment, you'll notice that you'll have two different personalities. They are old souls and they both have different purposes. Now, they have the first child, which is called your indigo. Now, your indigo child is, how do we explain this? They're more calm, placid. They're very much old souls. They'll love the old style music. They don't get along with children their age. They more get along with children that are older than them. That gives you a rundown. They're more peaceful, really loving, emotional children. Then we have the second child, which is the crystal child. Now, the crystal child is the overactive, behavioural problems. They get labelled with ADHD, learning. They have difficulties in sitting still. Some people say they've got Down syndrome, learning difficulties with the where they need to be medicated, or some kind of issue where they remove them from the classroom because they're too different to the other children. So both children have a part to play in the divine plan. So the indigo child is to test you as a parent for your patience, and is the one to be, as because they're not the same as the other children. They're the old soul, obviously, so they need different types of parenting structures. A test for you to create what works for your child, what foods work, what sports, obviously, because they're not generally the sporty type. They're generally more the book reader, or the maybe into more technology. If they do play sports, they're very good at it, but generally children like that, they'll go through a period of sport, but they're the more creative ones. So then we have the crystal children. They are there to test you for, obviously they're your boundary pushers, so they'll be in trouble at school all the time. The teachers won't know how to handle them. They will be very disruptive. Or you'll find that when you're talking to them at home, you've got to repeat yourself 100 times because they're in another world, it seems like. So what the crystal children are, they hold our high vibrational energies. They are to elevate other children. They are the most important keys, and more so a big part of the ascension process. They're like markers for you as a parent. They're to, when you see your children on a very high, happy level, that is a trigger for you to elevate to their frequency. So as part of the ascension, they are to remind you to meditate and to have a higher vibration, so you're on their level. Don't put them down to make them calm down and be who they are, to not be who they are, because by doing that you are damaging their mental and emotional chakras. You are almost programming their subconscious to say that there's something wrong with them when there's not. They are just very special children, and they're here for a reason. So when you find that your children are like you're talking to a brick wall because they're not here. The reason for this is because they spend a lot of their times in, say, from the 6th to the 10th dimension. So while they're in these other places holding that high vibration to Earth for us, when they come back to Earth, because it's a 3-dimensional, it is extremely harder for you to drop your vibration on such extreme levels. So when the children come back, they seem not with it, they seem out of it, or they just seem like they're ignoring you. Well, they're not, and they're actually very important children, so they aren't the problem. It's the parent and the people around that need to change, because they are from a high vibration, which is where we're all ascending to. So they are your markers to show you how much you need to elevate yourself. So this is just a quick rundown and an example of how these two children help. So the indigo child and the crystal child, when you have two of them in the same family, it becomes quite complex for the family, because you'll have obviously one child that's very calm and placid and smart, while the other child is very calm, very overactive, very smart, and a boundary pusher. So they are a boundary pusher. So between the two of them, you have different structured parenting. So it is a challenge for the parent. The parent who has the two children, that is a part of their divine plan, their soul mission. Obviously, to not only, instead of smacking them and putting fear into their life, it is to choose love, and maybe to incorporate what the children's desires are. But not only that, remember and hold a key factor for the fact that the children have a higher purpose, as do we. So if you can keep that in mind, that also gives you a bigger idea on how important these children are, as well as our divine mission. But because they are the young ones, they are from a higher dimension than we are. They are truly the light bearers and the frequency holders. Without these children and the forms of different people that are labeling them to be medicated and putting them in special classes and stuff, it's not acceptable. And it's to be really maybe focused on that these children are here, and a lot more of them now since the ascension process has started. So this gives you a good idea. If you have any more questions, please subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.